इतना सा फर्क है कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Thank you so much, Dheeraj, for playing the corporate video of Franchise India. Franchise India is Asia's largest integrated franchise solution company, which was established in 1999 and has absolute authority on franchising, licensing, and retailing. We have helped thousands of investors in selecting the right franchising opportunity while helping and assisting numerous organizations in international and domestic franchisee expansion. Through our dynamic media and service platform, we have catered to investors across all industries and categories like F&B, education, retail, fashion, health, etc. We welcome you to 114th episode of Business Opportunity Over Chai webinar series. This is a digital platform where our attempt is to represent the brand of the day. We do not endorse any particular brand. The flow of the webinar would be that first 20-25 minutes will take understanding from the brand about their franchise model. Then we'll open for the panel discussion. We welcome panel member, management team of Franchise India, Mr. Gaurav Maria, Ms. Sonia Chaudhary, and Ms. Venus Barak. And during the course of this particular webinar, they'll be sharing their thought processes, their feedback, suggestions, and advice with each one of us. The brand of the day today is Stona Sand, and we have the team of the brand representing their brands. This is India's leading mining and crushing company. It's our privilege to invite Mr. Ajay Kharbanda as well as Rajiv Arora. Mr. Ajay is engineer by education, is a mining entrepreneur and have extensive global knowledge about the vertical. If I talk about Mr. Rajiv Arora, is engineer and MBA by education, enjoys the 25 years in industry. Thank you so much, Ajay and Rajiv, for joining us today, and we are ready for your presentation. Thank you so much once again for joining us today.
Hi, everybody. Over to Rajiv.
Anshul, may I request you to please share the screen so that Rajiv can formally take us through the entire presentation. Thank you so much.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Rajiv from Stona Sand, and it's a pleasure to be here today with all of you and to tell you about what we do and what is our plans and how we invite you to be part of our growth story. So, Stona Sand is a brand name owned by our company, which we started 15 years ago, and particularly this has become in last few years one of the most trusted brand of manufactured sand in South India since we started operation of this business in around 5 years ago. So now today we will take you through our basic feature of the sand and how this is produced and what is the process and what is the project of producing sand. So we have prepared a presentation where we will take you through slide by slide and tell you more about this. So basically we have divided the presentation into 4 parts: introducing the sand, and then introducing what is Stona Sand, and then how you can be part of this growth story as a franchisee, and then what are the commercials and financial involved in that. So basically, M sand is, I would say, better substitute of river sand, bajri, reti, or in South India we call it marol. So earlier times the construction was done by using river sand, which was extracted from river beds. But since the demand is so high that if we keep extracting the sand from river beds, it is harmful for our ecosystem and rivers. That's how we all started searching for an alternative of river sand. And over the period of time, technology has evolved where we can produce better product than river sand by crushing the natural stones, which are granite, basalt, and other stones found in the local regions. And we have today technology available which produces the M sand, which has regular shape, size, no impurities. So it's basically a better substitute than river sand. If we look at the properties of the M sand, Anshul, can you go back once? So basically, it's why when I say it's a better alternative, because it has a better and regular shape and size of the particle, and which gives a higher strength and greater workability. And since it is produced by crushing stones, we are not touching any natural resources and river. It's very eco-friendly product. And these are the advantages also of using M sand. It is more economical because we have a definite supply of raw materials. It has less impurities because it is produced in a controlled environment, directly crushing the stone. And we have full control over the what you call the gradation of sand. So there is less silt and clay particles in this, which gives a very uh, suitable alternative to the river sand. Rather, in all the developed nations and economies, M sand is being used. There is no concept of river sand anymore anywhere. India is evolving, and I'm sure going forward, this will be the only alternative for river sand for construction material. Yeah, we can proceed further. So, what is the basic application of sand in the construction industry? So, usually sand is used as a filler material which produces bulk. It used as a binding material because if sand has a good strength, the eventual product, whether it's concrete, plastering, or bricklaying, it gives better strength of the end product, better strength to the end product. So the people who have been using river sand, they have this case that the river sand has finer particles and all. So in M sand, we remove those finer particles and it becomes even more suitable product for using high-end concreting, and like the heavy duty bridges, canals and all, they are using all M sands, and going forward, that is the only solution. So as I explained to you, if we discuss what is the necessity or need to switch to manufacture sand, earlier river sand was only alternative for construction, and looking at the situation of dredging of river beds and all, government has banned. In fact, Supreme Court had a ban on river sand across the nation. It was made illegal to use river sand to protect our rivers. So we had to find a suitable alternative. And then river sand had impurities because of salts and all chemicals being mixed in the river water while during its course of travel from mountains till sea. So that sand also contained a lot of impurities like bones, mica, shell, silt, etc., which is not there in M sand. So third thing is like every construction has some construction quality specification. It requires some strength specifications. So if you have a regular size particle sand without impurities and without any finer raw material or finer particles, it gives you a better strength. That's the reason over the period of time we will witness that whole industry will move to manufactured sand, and especially we see in southern part of India where we are our core area of manufacturing and production. Gradually 80 to 90% all the bigger projects and builders have moved to manufactured sand. So as such, India and whole world had shortage of sand because river sand was limited in supply. Moreover, the construction industry, and India being a developing country, the construction boom is there where this is the basic raw material. You cannot do construction without having a good quality of sand. So not going into the number, but you see every state in India is looking to have much more quantity of sand required than river sand could do. So we have market in all possible states in India. Wherever the big cities construction is happening, even B tier city construction is happening. And since this is produced from the locally available raw material, we have potential in all these states. We have taken a case here for certain states in southern India or Maharashtra where you can see demand of sand. Means these figures are, if I tell you one plant produce X amount, so these figures won't be satisfied having, even after having hundreds of those kind of plants in every state. So we see a big case there where we need to have M-sand plants in every state, in all big cities or all the growing cities. So when you say you produce sand and you want to sell sand, who will be your customer? So our customers are basically into two. We can categorize into two categories. One are B2B. B2B means the projects which government is handling, or large infrastructure project or large private projects, and big builders who are doing residential or commercial developments. So they are corporate clients. We put under category of B2B, and B2C is our retail customer, like you are building a house or a small project or a small farmhouse. So you must have heard that, you know, there's a every city has some spots where few trucks are standing of sand and you go and buy from there. So those are the customers which we call B2C. They are retail customers. They use 1, 2 trucks, 5 trucks in a month or in the whole construction. Whereas corporate clients or bigger buyers, they have thousands of tons sand requirement every day, because sand is more than half part of a concrete put in construction. So that requirement is massive and huge. And most of the higher end construction, they require very high specification of construction material, and our M sand is it adheres to all the Bureau of Indian Standards for construction. So these are the buyer categories we have. So we are discussing here business potential or a case where let's say we put a plant which is producing 70-80,000 tons per month, average 3,000 tons per day. So that we can translate, this can translate into 50 to 60 crore turnover per annum. So if we go into margin and profitability, here we are looking at the margins of around 35 to 45% net margins on cost of production and sales. And why I'm saying it varies because, you know, different states and different markets have different demand supply equation. So some markets where demand is not very high, supply is enough, the prices of sand, manufactured sand may be slightly on the softer side, whereas cities like Bombay or Bangalore or maybe Chennai, where there is no nearby quarries and all, the prices are on the higher side. But on an average, one can look at making 35 to 45% net margin on the cost of production and sales. So let me tell you something about what is Stona Sand and what we do, how we produce sand. So Stona Sand is a brainchild of our chairman, Mr. Ajay Kharbanda, who is also panelist here, and he envisaged around 5-7 years ago that this is going to be the future of crushing and mining industry, where the end product will be used everywhere. So till that time, people were not so aware that sand will be future of construction raw material, because till that time river sand was available in abundance and people were skeptical about quality of sand, because what was happening, all the crushers and crushing industry was supplying the crushing dust to the construction industry, which was not sand and which was harmful for the construction. So it led to that market thinking that, you know, crushing sand is not suitable for construction. But Mr. Ajay, he had this vision that if we produce good quality sand, which is being produced in USA or Middle East or European countries, where all the construction is dependent on this sand uh, material. So he kind of started working on it, did a lot of research and set up the first plant around 5-6 years ago, where we started producing sand in the southern part of Bengaluru. And after few months or maybe 6 months or a year of persuasion to the customer to try and this thing, it hit the market in a very positive way, and people started appreciating the quality, and some small players tried to copy the quality and this thing also, because eventually when demand is more, players come in the market. But gradually it kept growing, and today we see most of the big builders and all the infrastructure developers, they are using our sand and they are very happy with the quality and all. So this is a brief about Stona Sand brand, and gradually it's picking up as a brand that people check with other suppliers also, that do you have Stona Sand to offer. So what is the process to produce sand, and how we do it is basically we have our own mines. Mines, when you say mines, it's basically deposit of minerals, where we extract the mineral or boulders and crush them in a scientific manner to produce a desired quality of manufactured sand. Stona Sand is a brand of manufactured sand, is our own brand, whereas the generic product is called M sand or manufactured sand. So we are focused to produce one of the if I say best quality, it means it one of the good qualities, one of the finest quality available in the market. And since we have huge economies of scale and scientific method of production, our this thing M sand is priced at a very reasonable price vis-a-vis river sand and other products. Now coming to our team, I am Rajiv Arora. You can see I've been a serial entrepreneur into different fields, coal mining, textiles, and other things. And Mr. Ajay Kharbanda is he's the chairman of the group, and he is the person who had this vision to work on MSAN in India and take it to different level. And after first few years of when you introduce a new product in the market, people are skeptical. You have to convince them, you have to tell them what is the product. And we are proud to say today that people recognize us as Stona Sand, and Mr. Ajay is known as the industry leader and visionary in this field, where today we are happy to share our knowledge and expertise to people to how to produce good quality M sand and market it well. So talking about our company in a little bit more details, besides producing M sand and besides being specialist into this field, basically we are mining domain specialist, and we work into different areas of mining industry. Basically, you can say we are a 360-degree company involved in finding the mines, developing the mines, doing research and developments on the minerals and their extraction process. Then we have a core competency of handling O&M, operations and management of the whole mining process, mining and crushing process. Then we have an arm called MNC, that is a consulting company where we are happy to share our knowledge with newcomers or the people who are not able to run their companies efficiently. So we are kind of a group of professionals who are there in mining industry for providing end-to-end services. So talking about where we are today in terms of our strengths and what are the opportunity coming and how we can exploit it. So as I have explained in the past few minutes, we had that vision, and luckily we are able to convert that vision into reality of producing one of the finest quality of product, catering to the very high-end construction requirements where quality is more important than anything else. So that core competency and advantage of being a leader in the industry give us that edge over others, where we command premium on pricing, where we command preference over other vendors, and where we have all the connection in the industry. And these are, if I am allowed to say, these are our strengths, where we are there to we are there in the industry from end to end, from developing the mine till marketing the product. We have all the facilities. Maybe it is research and developments, maybe it's how to market the product, how to be partner in the industry with different stakeholders and vendors. So these are our strengths. And while we talk about opportunity, so as I mentioned, this industry, M-Sand industry is going to stay and grow going forward, because this is the only substitute available uh, of river sand or other type of low quality sands. And in fact, this is in turn, we are doing a favor to our mother earth, that we are not damaging the ecosystem of rivers, and whatever growing demand for M sand is there, we are able to supply high quality sand by putting up very scientific and technically advanced plant. And that gives us a lot of credibility in the market, that these are the trusted vendors and one of the best quality vendor in this area where we are operating today. So this was all about our company and what we do. And we have a vision to grow, starting from southern part of India, going to middle part of India. And as I mentioned earlier, that this is a product which is required in smallest of the construction to the biggest of infrastructure product. No construction is complete without having a good quality of sand, which is today is replaced by everywhere M sand. So we have this ambition, and we want to share our knowledge and expertise with the players who are either having mines, or who are basically ready to invest into this business and be part of a futuristic business, which is future proof business and a very high return business. And if people have this misconception that sand was a orthodox business controlled by mafia and all, I must clarify, this is a business which is done fully legally and in a very compliant method. And we are there to share our know-how, our technology, and our experience to the players who want to be uh, part of this M-Sand growth story. And how we can do it, what kind of partnership we are looking into franchisees or our future partners in growth, is that we can share our technical acumen and know-how. We can help in setting up the whole unit, crushing unit, and then till the end, we help you to do marketing and set up all markets and networking for uh, getting very means optimizing all the resources and getting optimized profit out of the whole business model. So these are the you can see on your screen that these are the financial model of typical sand plant if we put. So if we take a case of let's say any market, let's say Bengaluru, so we are looking at revenue of around sales price of around 600 rupees per ton, and revenue of around 45 crores per annum. And whereas if we take percentage wise, we will be spending around 33% as the cost of production OPEX. And if you look at it, net profitability, we are looking at around 11 crores per annum, which gives you return on investment of around 65 to 70% per annum. So if we are looking at the payback of this project within 2 years, maybe within 18 months to 24 months to be on conservative sides. So this is how it is.
So
So
just
on left
if I
side,
can, Rajiv sir, if I can add, so these numbers are, if you can look at the investment side also,
yeah,
this is a plant with 3,000 tons per day capacity, as we discussed earlier in the presentation. And this is a total investment of
mm,
16.5 crores. Where 16 crores
yes.
goes in setting up the plant, and 50 lakhs is the franchise fee the company would
Yeah.
charge. So 16.5. This gives an annual production of about a million ton,
Mm.
and on a realistic picture, about 7.5 lakh ton should be able to do and sell that quantity. And that is how the numbers are then built in terms of the city-wise pricing. Bangalore is 600 rupees per ton, Hyderabad also close to 600, Chennai 700, Kochi 875. So the price difference is basis the demand and the current competition presence in each of these markets, right? You can see the difference. Mumbai is 800, Pune current pricing is around 700. So depending on the price points, your annual turnover and profitability also changes. So as Rajiv sir mentioned, overall between ideally between 15 to 18 months is what we should be looking at in terms of the ROI in this business.
So you see, we have a 6 months of gestation period. So within 2 years,
Correct.
we are looking forward to have your money back or payback period. And it is irrespective of pricing in the market, because the markets which are more lucrative like Bombay, Kochi and all, the payback will be much faster. But when we have this conservative attitude of whenever investment is done, the investor should be happy to get their returns much before than predicted. That is always a good situation to have.
Sure. And as Rajiv sir mentioned, 6 months gestation period. So this 6 months also includes the plant setup time.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So it is not that the plant is running and we're not able to make any sales. So the 6 months is including everything: plant setup and initial first couple of months where you do business development and set up your contracts in the market.
Yeah. So as far as sale is concerned, I'll tell you, this is such a product. The moment, the day you start the plant, from that day only you start selling, and there are people who are waiting to take the material. If you produce good quality material, there will be a queue of trucks waiting to be loaded at the site.
Right, sir. So in terms of the partner profile, as sir mentioned already, we're very keen to partner with existing mine owners, which then becomes very easy to set up the plant and operate it from there. Large diversified business groups who would be keen for such opportunity. Cement producers also, because they would have the existing infrastructure with them and experience in the process. So it could be very interesting for them as well. For investors who are not from mining background or from cement background and keen for this opportunity, company can of course help in terms of setting up the plant, and with the right training given, the processes can be done. Right. So these are the profiles we're looking at: plant operations, sales, CRM. Yeah. So to summarize the presentation, actually, key reasons to partner with the brand today. Of course, the India opportunity, large and growing real estate and construction market. As Rajesh sir mentioned, that every city today there is construction happening, and M-sand is the only available option to replace riverside, right? So which means every building that you see under construction today would need to procure M-sand at some stage, right? And buyer is also shifting from L1 supplier, which used to be the earlier criteria in terms of the lowest cost supplier, to better quality supplier, ensuring a sustainable construction, better construction, and longevity of the building also. So this clearly presents an opportunity to set up the M-sand plants in the target 6 markets. Brand strength, of course, credible player, experience and expertise in this category, premium pricing with top quality product, established corporate connect. Uh, Very important point here is that equipment sourcing, plant setup. So company with their experience and their network in the market, they would be able to bring in the best equipment, and the very fast procurement can be done, which if you do yourself, it would take a very long time, and you would also not get the best pricing, right? Also, a very important aspect is repair and maintenance services. Downtime for a plant is a loss of business, right? Company with their experience and their teams ensure that repair and maintenance is done very quickly, so your downtime is minimized. So these two are very, very important aspect. Branding and marketing pull. Uh, Brand, of course, already has presence in Bangalore and Karnataka overall, and already enjoys an established name in this category. Right. So overall, right company, rightly placed to capture this opportunity. As a franchisee partner, your benefits, of course, a high growth market and high margins opportunity. Potentially, as we saw in the numbers slide as well, sustainable cash flows of about INR 1 crore per month as net profit is what can be generated. So once you put in this 16, 17 crore in the project, you're looking at generating 1 CR every month as a net income. And over 2 years, once the ROI is done, this becomes a very exciting revenue prospect for the overall business. So with that, Rajesh sir, your concluding remarks, please.
Yeah. So as I said from the beginning, M-Sand is going to be, and it is, we can see, going to be the future of construction raw material. Any construction, big construction happening in India or anywhere in the world, it will be integrated part of that construction. So as a business opportunity, it's a very future-proof business, A. B, it's a very legal and compliant business. And all the governments in all the states are encouraging and supporting this business. There might be some inhibitions and some misconception about mining industry, but when it comes to mining and producing M-Sand, all the governments are welcoming the entrepreneurs to be in this field and do produce manufactured sand, so that the sand shortage in every state can be fulfilled. So we anticipate that there is going to be massive demand and growth of this industry in the coming few years, and this is the right time, as they say, to ride the wave of this growth. And as Anshul showed you, and we discuss about the numbers, financials also. Today, if we get into this business where ROI and paybacks are less than 2 years or less than 2.5 years, it's a good business to be in. And best thing is always the demand is more than the supply, whatever we can produce. Today, we run all our plants on zero stocks. So it is a good business to be in with the future proof cash flows and returns. And the biggest challenge of this business is technical know-how and expertise to produce and run the plants and market it. We are there to support the new players or existing players. So means if you are interested or anybody interested, we can connect and we can help you and we can take you from end to end, where you can find the business opportunity in details and we can discuss it further. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rajiv ji. Thank you, and thank you, Ajay ji, for making time out for coming on our panel. I know you're very busy, and it's our privilege to have you. And we also know how much passion you have for this business, and
and the kind of your organization enjoys a great reputation and legacy in the entire mining business. And this is a great opportunity. This has been actually requested by a lot of our investors who reach out to us and say we want a industry which is recession proof, which is an industry which where they can have a large amount of margin. So a lot of people don't know that the business like this has probably the best ROI. We have in last 5 odd months presented every single day a new opportunity, but I'm yet to see an opportunity of this nature and with the kind of margins this offers. So and because it's an industry which a lot of people think it's limited to very few people, and that's where I think my discussion with Ajay ji happened, and he wanted to really bring this knowledge to a lot of people out there, a lot of independent entrepreneurs, family businesses, people already in the construction mining space. They can benefit out of what he's already done. They are starting with the rollout to begin with in south of India. There's a huge market in Hyderabad, especially a little outside Hyderabad, because a phenomenal amount of construction is going on. There's a huge market in Chennai. That's where good opportunity. But even in smaller cities, you look at Coimbatore, you look at Kochi. These are markets which have a tremendous amount of opportunity coming in. Some people have reached out from East India, so East also has a lot of supply, which is happening. And one gentleman has actually written for Bombay, which probably is the best market, especially if you do it anything between Bombay and Pune corridor. There is a huge opportunity. You can service both markets. There is a lot going on, and probably the best rate which you're doing. So just to simplify the process, and I will like Ajay ji, you to really open up and give an opportunity for our audience to really how big is this shift happening, how fast this shift is happening, because governments are now not liking the older conventional mining or sand from rivers being taken out. So the M sand is how big the shift is, and if you can also give an example of a mature market overseas like Middle East and things like that, how this has completely shifted to M sand. So over to you, Ajay ji.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. And Franchiseindia, Mr. Maria, you've been kind enough to place this whole thing together. And Rajiv, one of my, strengths, who has led you through the presentation. I think I'm audible to all of you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Let me give you a little brief about me getting into this business so that, everybody here can understand how I got into it and what led me to think that this needs to grow as fast as I think. 2012, 2013, I was just looking at opportunity that what can we do, which is beyond and above what everybody is doing. So I don't know, somehow I read somewhere that the river sand is going to be banned, and my apprehension towards utilizing river sand into construction literally got stopped. But as Indian bureaucracy and the government's work, it never got implemented as fast as the Supreme Court had put a ban on using of river sand. And then I started to work upon it. Honestly speaking, in 2014, when I did my research, I was in US and then I went to Germany. I looked at all the people into construction and what are they using? Nobody was using river sand, to be honest. And that's when I thought that let me see what they do and how they do it. And we were doing the same thing actually, but we were producing out of the waste rock, which is granite or basalt. People were creating, we call it jelly or, patthar or rodi, whatever. And there is a byproduct called dust. So when the ban came into place, people started selling that dust, which is actually a negative product as a filler into construction. And certain constructions, they collapsed after usage of such, because the binding factor is not there. Then we evolved and I discussed with certain American companies, whatever the technology comes into it, which is our expertise today, for which we try to boast upon that what we produce using the technology, method, and experience is one of the best. That brought me into this. We set up our first unit. People were thinking that we will not be able to sell anything like this because it was, of course, expensive to manufacture M-sand compared to what these guys were doing. So let's say if our product today costs us to manufacture 300 odd rupees per ton, those guys could achieve in 200, 220. So they thought this is not a great idea what I was doing. And they were selling it at 300, 350 rupees because their cost of production was lesser. And going down the line, the market started to mature. People understood the difference between dust and the sand. And so the journey was very beautiful. It was hard, but it was great. And then, people started following and we started to increase our manufacturing. Currently, we are producing almost 10,000 tons a day. And then we have a vision of our own captive manufacturing and captive selling of almost 25,000 tons per day. We are enjoying that growth journey. And that's when, in the COVID times, except month of, I think, 23rd of March, when we were all shut, we were all locked inside our own houses. And I started to think, and that's when we spoke.
That's
So
right.
that period of 29 or how many days was it, Azam? It was around 30 odd days we stopped our plant, technically. Before that and after that, we've never looked back. Whatever we produce in 18 hours shift, we just sell off in 6 to 8 hours. There's no time to waste. There's no negotiations. We produce whatever we can produce and then it's sold instantly, which means Rajiv has told that we are running on zero stocks all the time. Our sales team is crying, sir, make more. Arey bhai, we have X capacity, how can we exceed? So the demand is definitely huge. People who consume sand, they understand totally that what to buy and what not to buy. Today, at least by we also write a lot of blogs. We make people aware. Why should they use this and why should they not use the rest of the product, the Faltu product, whatever. So the journey has been good. And I apprehend that we can reach out to the right people who want to enter this space with us. We want to handhold them. We want to lend our expertise. We want to give them the best direction. So commerce is not the only thing that you don't do business only to make money. Yes, that's a very big point when you run a business. But of course, the satisfaction of doing business legally, the satisfaction of doing something which others are not doing. So we have a very few players in this industry who do professional sand manufacturing. We can count there on tips actually. People who do, they are enjoying the journey like nobody's business. People who want to get into it, they don't know where to go to. So we created this platform so that people can happily come, reach out to us, and you are there, no, to bring us to them. So this becomes a great journey together. So I hope we have right set of people with the right set of approach and putting their trust into us. And then let's see how this journey goes forward.
Absolutely. And I think pioneers like you obviously think ahead. So both in terms of one, to bring the category to the market and leading it the front, and now also to really bring into others who can benefit for what you have really invested in and seen the whole cycle. This industry is absolutely at a tipping point where both the regulators, governments would encourage, and this probably is going to happen in almost everything we do in construction materials. So everything has to get into from a classic way of doing things to a little more modern way where you are able to get better quality and better service to the industry. So I'll take one important question is which I think can be answered by Ajay ji, you or Rajiv ji. Sure. In terms of what is a go-to-market time, say if somebody starts now from the time of really agreeing to the and getting to a production, what is the time frame it takes for a plant to get it set up?
So there are two set of people who can enter this industry. One is the kind of people who already run this kind of a show, but I'm sure they may not be running it as effectively and as efficiently as we can help them to do. So that means you're running a shop. I can, assure you that I can do better in your own shop. So that is a set of people who we can come in and correct the whole system and lend our name and expertise. Second set of people who can come into this is who have a bit of knowledge about this. Even if they don't have, they can learn from us. And they have intention to expand their business portfolio from, let's say, construction or whatever successful business they are into. And they have around 20 odd crores to, pump into a new set of business. letting us decide where the mines will be. We will identify the right market. We will identify the mines. We will identify the plant machinery layout. So end to end, the whole program in a greenfield kind of a project can take, if the mines, what we suggest and propose, if they are accepted fast, the process of mine acquisition and so on and so forth, and the land acquisition and all, that is with an additional cost, can take up to 3 to 6 months. Beyond that, it will be 3 to 4 months of setup of the industry. So there we are talking about around 8 to 10 months, typically, give or take some time, because we need some sanctions and approvals. And if there is a land and a mine available, then we are looking at around 120 days to kickstart, if the permissions are in place. So this is what typically, I can suggest right now.
No, it's a good timing, and it's as you said, once it is done, then it is a cash business, which means that anything you produce would sell. And while at this stage it looks like we have a very good arbitrage in terms of the margins available, and that's why the profitability is phenomenal. I mean, you pay back the entire project of this size, and I've not seen any industry which would pay back in 18 to 24 months. There is a very little industries which would have, even the best of the businesses don't pay back in that. I think with the large investment like that, this business really qualifies to be a top of it. But would we be able to control the same kind of margins going forward, or you think with the players entering the market, it might create some pressure on margins as we go along?
So you always see the pressure of competition in the market in any kind of business you start, but definitely the edge is always over the quality than the quantity. So we believe what we produce should always remain on top of the quality, not that others can't produce, but we claim that we can produce the best. And there is a first mover's advantage always in any industry. Now, I'll just give you an example. As we are exploring the opportunity of getting the franchisee route, we also keep doing our own expansion of acquisition and setting up newer projects, because within the Stona brand, the self-owned mines and plants, we keep on doing that. That's an ongoing process for us. So of late, we have identified certain areas in the country where definitely the profitability is double than what we have displayed here to you and the audience.
Yeah.
Wherever we have higher margins, and so there, of course, investment is close to 35-40 crores. But I can guarantee to my own investors and my own team that we will be bringing back 35 crores in first year of production. And then we have 20 years of life. So you can imagine, what are we talking here?
This is a good business. This is tempting me to also invest with you, because the kind of the kind of returns you're doing.
For that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm anyway invested with you, so we're taking your journey to a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners and family businesses. So before I pass it to Sonia for taking her questions, and also Venus is also there if Venus wants to pick up any questions. So one more question I would like to ask is a lot of people who are investors, and we have been getting feedback, who have infrastructure capital to do. If say reasons somebody comes and say, I can bring the investment down, because a lot of good family businesses are looking at that kind of a situation. Would there be an opportunity for you to take over a management and sales function? Because a lot of companies do that way, that they set up the entire plant by somebody, and then the sales function is handled by the company, because they understand that better.
So let's run a case study here. You are saying there's an investor who runs another kind of businesses and wants to invest into this kind of business, but with zero know-how. Am I right?
Zero know-how, and maybe some kind of relationships he enjoys in that market. So it can be relationships, it can be governance, it can be any kind of a local administrative support he can bring in, but he doesn't know the function of sales and running this business on a day-to-day basis. Because we get a lot of people who have great influences in their states because of their relationship and the administrative value they provide, but they don't want to run and operate the business themselves.
It's a very good kind of arrangement in this kind of a scope. Let's say there is a investor with some connect in the market where they are, and then they have us over to see that the potential is there or not. And we claim that, yes, there is a good potential in the market which you are eyeing for. Henceforth, acquisition, identifying the right spot, setting up the plant machinery, maintaining and operating, including selling, is our forte. So we will not bother you. Yes, definitely the kind of role we will be doing, we will define our input of energy, time, effort, and everything, and then the costs will differ, of course. So that is a detailed kind of a thing which we will always sit down and discuss, Gaurav.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think this is a large investment, needs a much deeper, and entire senior team at Franchiseindia is directly working on this project. So if anybody has to set up a discussion, please reach out to us, and we will be more than happy to really spend some time in every single investment, because these are large investments. These are not decisions which you do with the regular vanilla franchisees. So over to you, Sonia, for your remarks and picking up some questions.
I'd like to thank you, Ajay ji and Rajiv ji. I think the presentation was very, very elaborate and explicit, and the opportunity absolutely is wonderful. And I'll pick some questions which have come directly from our investors. And maybe the first one, which I want to perhaps pick up, was on the joint venture, which has been covered by Gaurav. Second, which I want to maybe pick up, is on the demand analysis. You said there's a great demand, and most of the time there's zero stock. And there's certain locations which you mentioned in your presentation from Bombay, Chennai, Kochi. And what we understand, the current expansion plan starts only from south. But are we looking at other territories also if there's a good inquiry which comes in? Is that an opportunity at this point in time, or that is something that we're looking at a second phase of expansion?
Answering you, Sonia, opportunity is widely available not only in India but overseas as well. Only thing is subject to our basic study by a customer who approaches you or us and asks us that let's do it in, let's say, Amritsar. Now we will have to do a basic study which will take, say, a couple of weeks. We will come back and then tell you what is the competition there, what is the pricing there, what is the availability of raw material there, and the basic paraphernalia which is very, very essential in order to set up an industry in X city or Y. So, it is subject to our giving a green signal. In a standalone case where an investor, I have seen some questions here.
Yeah.
People are even trying to ask that, can we help them to identify even the land, mine, and all of that? Yes, we are. In fact, before hosting this show, we have prepared quite a lot of resources where if there is somebody serious, some serious player wants to enter, we could be possibly ready to offer them a mine and a land with sanctions, and then here we come in the play. We will sit down, jot down all the cost parameters for the mines, the land, and the setup, and the time frame. So the entire investment with what we bring them is very transparent.
All right, I think that's very helpful. Another is on the permissions. You did mention if the permissions are in place, then the gestation time is comparatively low. What kind of permissions are typically required to put up this infrastructure?
See, primarily there are two kind of departments which come in picture. The macro level, if you see, one is a mining department and one is an industry department. Because mining department controls the mining part, industry controls the crushing part.
15 hours.
In that, there are a lot of sub segments. Let's say if you talk about mining, so there will be environment clearance, there will be a local, district level mining approval. So a lot of NOCs from forest, even if they're not a forest property, forest NOC, revenue NOC. So many, no objections are required, including the panchayat. So that takes away a lot of time and cost. If you talk about crushing, then pollution. So it's a polluting industry, but controlled pollution. It is in an orange segment, not a red flag industry. So in orange, what happens is we have parameters which we can control. So we need to seek permissions from district collector, pollution board, and so on and so forth. So all of that is very, very important before we step into getting into the setting up of the industry.
All right. Great. And while we did talk about how big or how long is the term of the agreement with the partner, and are there any renewal terms? Because it's a long project and big investment goes.
and very, I would say, futuristic business. So what are the renewal terms, after the term expires with the partner?
Between the franchisee and the franchisor, you mean?
Yes.
See, ideally speaking, we would prefer the agreement never to end. We will handhold them forever. But in case they want to set free after we've acquired everything for them, given them the know-how, set up their industry, trained their team, or brought in a team and leave them, we would ideally prefer not less than 5 years, because there's a lot of effort. We have handheld them to make substantial amount of money with their investment, of course, but then we will handhold them for all kind of challenges going forward. So 5 years should be the basic sign up.
Okay, and what happens after this 5 years? Is the renewal fee 50 lakhs as a franchise fee that becomes due after these 5 years for reasons the franchisee wants to continue?
No. So what happens is that the franchise fees is one time, whereas there is a recurring fees which is captured at the production. So which means month on month revenue, there will be some kind of a negotiated value which we will derive at with the partners. And the fixed fee, there's no fixed fee after that.
All right.
Yeah, recurring fee.
Great. Very helpful. Ajay, I'll request Venus if you want to take up some questions. I see some questions on the loan, if there are any schemes available, or any other questions which perhaps you want to pick up from the audience and take it up.
I think most of the questions we have already taken up. There are some questions regarding the costing. I think I'll take this up. What is the cost of only plant machinery? I think it's a very specific question, Ajay. Would you want to answer that?
Venus, before you begin, Sonia added something which was very valuable about loans. I overheard her.
Financing.
Because, that's a very important part. Yes, we have a lot of partners in NBFC and banks where we can facilitate the upcoming or interested franchisee to help them avail loans based on their financial credibility, which means if you have credibility, we have NBFCs, we have banks who are going to fund the mission part of it. So where we will come into picture in terms of financing or getting them the loans is only in the machine, the working capital. We can put them one-on-one. We can help the banker or the NBFC and the party to play a vital role. But when it's acquisition of the mine, there is no funding available. Make it clear to yourself. No bank, no NBFC will fund ever to acquire a mine. That has to be your own personal wealth, which you have to invest. All sanctions you have to invest. Once sanctions and the mines are in place, equipment financing is very easily available based on your track record, finance track record. We do not come into picture. We only handhold you, we help you, we guide the client, we talk to the NBFC or the bank, but beyond that, nothing.
Okay, and is there a norm of minimum down payment that needs to be done, and to what level is this financing available? So
100% financing has to be done from your own pocket in terms of acquisition of land or mines. But in terms of equipment finance, which is quite a lot, depending on the negotiations with the bank, up to 80, 90%. In fact, in trucks are even offering us 100%. Or maybe averaging you take 80%.
80.
Get borrowings, yeah.
All right. I think that's very helpful. Sorry, Venus, I think you can go ahead with the question that you were asking.
I think most of the questions have been answered, and my question was regarding compliance, because Ajay, this is a discovery for me also that, you also were not from this industry as such and kind of explored it and got into it. But it can be on the compliance side, this can be a fairly intimidating business, although the returns seem very attractive. Anything you would want to add, Ajay, on that? Like anybody who was kind of looking at this opportunity on the compliance side, you would have, you would be supporting them, and they don't have to kind of really sort of get into that mode that this is a very traditional and cartelized business.
For all of us here, I would like to make a special comment. Since you all say and agree that this is a very lucrative industry.
Yes.
On the macro level, it looks very easy. And I have seen and encountered a lot of people getting into this business without any professional expertise.
Sure.
They had to sell their house. They were crying. They said, this is the worst industry we can get into. Why? If you see, I am making money in share market, the stock market. It doesn't mean you can make money. My expertise is my expertise, not yours. So if you try to do what I do without my or similar kind of an expertise, I don't think it's a success model. You will all your lifetime regret doing it. A lot of people have done it. So those are the people who come back to us. Oh my God, you are minting money. What about us? We are selling our house. I said, yeah, this is where the lacuna is. This is where you are dying. This is why you are dying. So there is a thin line of success or a failure in this business. That thin line, if you miss, either you die or you become rich.
And this is true, very true. And what Ajay said, and this is true with almost all industries, but more importantly in this industry, because this has a much more specialization required, and end of the day, you're dealing with a lot of critical issues, sourcing, and processing, and also then the sales. So all these three are very, very
It's a
technical.
very debatable, very lengthy conversation, which we can have it one-on-one or with a client whenever we have some. There are so many moving parts. You can, I can say there are like 100 moving parts. If you cannot control all, it's like a car. One fuse can stop your car. Correct? What do? You're stranded on a highway with one fuse down, which costs bloody 2 rupees. But it's down is down, and you're losing. Here also you're losing. So I say per hour we are manufacturing 300 tons, which is giving you say 200 rupees a ton of profit, which means how much, Raji? So you're making a lakh. How much it comes to? No. So what we are making 300 tons an hour times we make 200 rupees. So we are making 60,000 rupees an hour. So imagine if you stuck yourself due to some silly mistake of yours, which is not your core strength. So where we come in as experts, we do not let your downtime. We make sure things are so smooth, so so well oiled the machinery is. It's not the technical machinery, the whole 100 moving parts, men, machinery, sales, procurement, which is from your own minds or blah, blah, blah. So everything has to run in tandem for you to be rich. Otherwise, no, I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Very well said. This is not for everybody, but that's where the opportunity really comes in, and that's where people have done. I'll give you an example of a company called Kamdhenu Saria.
Yes.
A lot of people in TMT were not able to make sense, but when they used to partner with them, not only they get the right pricing because the brand, I think, so that's what is happening. This industry is changing, and positive aspect is that people like Ajay are there who are happy to share. Otherwise, people keep everything to their chest. They don't share it. They don't share their secrets. So I think I like what Ajay ji is doing is sharing how to create wealth in this industry with like-minded entrepreneurs, family businesses, and other industry people in different states. So as we're running out of the time, Ajay ji, last comments from you. Rajiv ji, any last comments? Sonia, Venus, your comments, and before we do that, and also we will like your time, maybe another next week, sometime for a couple of discussions, very, very serious ones, which we can bring in directly to you.
So sand is one of the largest sold minerals in the world. Always remember, after water.
Wow. This I will certainly remember.
So you know what you're getting into. India has only seen river sand, which is now banned. So what is the next alternate? This is the only alternate. There is no substitute to sand. Nothing at all.
That's a great pitch. That's a great pitch, Ajay. We will remember that. It's a great pitch.
So you know what to do next.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think quite good. And I hope we have some serious people, you know.
No, very serious. I think we are getting, particularly in your case, I personally got yesterday a few people who just joined this webinar, especially on this, and so there is a good interest and very very focused people who were impressed on what we were, and I think we will be able to bring in. And it's not for everybody; it's just only for people who qualify that kind of investment. So
Definitely.
next week we'd like to have Ajayji's time, but only and when we have
Not
really
be there for
qualified.
serious people. Sorry for waste. I would not like to waste time on anybody because really, really, we are very busy. I think 24 hours is not enough for me in the day.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Great. So we'll come on the closure of the webinar. And Rajivji, you want to say anything?
Perfect, Gaurav. So I think we have covered everything, and as Ajay said, it's like a very very future-proof business. There is no end to demand, huge potential, and if you know the right technology and management of this business, it can be a very very profitable and long-term business. So we are very optimistic about the AMSAN's growth in India. So the interested people can be part of this journey with us.
Look forward, absolute look forward, and we will certainly work hard to really get very qualified people to come and
Yeah.
present the case.
Thank you.
I think there
Thanks
are
a lot, everyone.
there in the Q&A. I think
Yeah.
address all the Q&A questions on one-to-one basis.
Absolutely, one
Yeah.
to one, we'll take it. Archana, over to you for your thank you note, please.
So thank you so much, the team of Stona Sand for coming in today. Thank you so much, Ajayji. Thank you so much, Rajivji, for joining us today. We would like to thank our panel member for sharing their advice with all of us. You can connect with Franchise India team at our business hotline number, which is 97176838838. That's our business hotline number, which is directly monitored by Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am. We invite all the feedback, suggestions, requests at the same business hotline number because your suggestions will definitely help us in improving our process. We request you to save our business hotline number in your phone book because we, through broadcast message, sharing regular updates with you. You can connect with the management team of Franchise India at their respective LinkedIn IDs. We try to answer many of the queries today. Our regional team will definitely in touch with you for all the unanswered questions. The recorded version of this particular webinar, rest all the webinars, summits, franchisee show, which we have started from 1st of May. All are available at the Facebook page of Franchise India Brands. That's the site where you can go on the video section and you can watch all the previously done webinars. And tomorrow we are inviting you again for Business Opportunity with Chai webinar series. We are celebrating 141st episode of this particular series, and we are presenting you Gujarat's fastest growing chain of ice cream parlor with 30 plus outlets currently operational. So this is Donzel. We are presenting you tomorrow at the same business hotline number. You will get a registration link from our side. We request each one of you to please do registration today. Post registration, you will receive a confirmation mail so that you can join us tomorrow sharp 12 p.m. for this particular webinar. Once again, from our side, thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day ahead. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ajay ji. Thank you very much.
2:30 बजे भी कर सकते हैं.
Thank you,
All
everyone.
right.
Thank you so much, Ajay. Thank you so much, Rajiv. Have a nice day. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot of having us there. Thank you.
Great day. Thank you.